it mask off. Man, what a futuristic year. Welcome to the podcast, everybody. How is everyone? There is we have a full Nobodies loadout. We have everyone here.
The extended crew is all on.
Yeah, we have everyone here. Isaac, how are you? How's being Isaac?
A new dad.
Yeah.
First son. Pretty cool.
Big deal.
Yeah, big deal. I've been trying to stay low key with it. I don't want people to be like, "Oh, you treat your son better than your two daughters." I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy, Papa. I'm doing good.
That's great. Levi, right?
Yeah, Levi.
Oh,
yeah, I was looking earlier and I was like, I think this is my 6th episode.
You are one of our most common guests.
Basically on the podcast by this point.
Yeah, basically. He's 100%.
It's the next
he's
edition.
in line in succession. Honestly,
I'm the guy in the middle.
Purvis goes down.
Yeah, the obvious
Isaac has to come fill in. Isaac has to fill in for anyone that goes down. But Purvis goes down, that's like Isaac owns the company then, right? I've been reading Game of Thrones. It's like
he is the 34%. Like
he becomes the most person. All right. Well, we got a kind of a heavy episode this week. We decided to, because we have a fun month in September, as we do every September, but we wanted to be a little bit more serious this episode, and I appreciate it because I've been seeing a lot of the conversations that we've been having in prep for it, and I'm excited because I think it's a good conversation to have. We're talking about some honoring some people who we've lost in hip hop. Yeah, it's been what has it been, like 6 years since Mac Miller passed? Right around this time of year.
Right. We just passed that, and then we also had Rich Homie Quan.
You just passed, which was a shocker.
Yeah. Even though he's been out the news, like I was not prepared to hear that at all.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Now, do we want to run through the news first? We got a lot of singles dropping. We had a lot of things happen. I know last week was not a lot of news. This week was a lot of news.
Absolutely. We'll jump right into it. To be honest, there's no real albums coming out this week. There is the deluxe version of The Death of Slim Shady. Been what, a month or two? It's been a while, actually, right?
It's been like 2 months, I think. It's been a month,
maybe
2 months.
So
he was featured on the album last week.
He was?
LL Cool J's album.
I did not know that. Didn't even know LL Cool J dropped an album.
I actually did hear about the LL Cool J album.
There's some great features on it.
Because
Nas is on it.
I haven't listened to it because I'm
Rhymes is on
30,
it.
but like, you know.
It's a very old head, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Snoop's on
a nice nod to the old heads. Which, you know what? I respect that.
They got a party too. Like
they got a party too.
Yes.
But yeah, that's literally it. So we just have a deluxe version of an album. But the singles, it's a lot going on.
Yeah, yesterday was a big one.
Jesus Christ. Kendrick Lamar dropped an untitled song on his Instagram. And it's a doozy. It's a 5-minute song.
Yeah, it's I listened to it like twice.
I listened to it like 10 times. I'm not gonna lie.
It's it's a little bit more than the 616 in LA, Meet the Grams, kind of like a heavy, he's talking about a lot. This one appears to be more about the entire industry than it does Drake specifically, although a lot of it works both ways.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, Drake's the biggest name, so he oftentimes represents the most negative parts of the industry that we talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems like this is much larger. Obviously, there's some obvious names like Drake and who's the dude that sucks him off?
40?
Oh, Academics.
Thank you. It was very obvious nods to. That's crazy that we all knew who that was.
Yeah.
I hate that. I mean, that's so obvious,
dude. Dude, he's not worth the break dust. I saw that dude crossing the street. I would.
That's crazy.
I would run him down.
Okay. Well,
I'd get him with the door.
He's very annoying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we talk about glazing, like Jesus.
Dude,
Right. He is a
who's
professional.
your
It's
top
another-
5? Because my top 5 is Drake.
And it just cuts to him sleeping. But yeah, it's a doozy. He's talking about the whole industry, and I would highly recommend listening to it.
I mean, if yeah, Maze was going on at the same time.
This man is the Joker of Eminem. I
Yeah.
mean, of hip hop. Like,
He is. What villainous behavior on 9/11 too.
he's on a
Yeah,
roll
but,
now.
but
Juneteenth, 9/11, 4th of July. Like,
yeah, but to back not overlook things. The beat on this track is
Awesome.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It gives you that early 2000s type, like old school type rap that
and
he
the
grew up on.
yeah, and the picture is unhinged. Scuff black Air Force Ones. You
They
know
found
the
out.
Picture he took from an eBay post.
yeah,
Vibes.
so eBay.
For $70.
Crazy.
My,
And now
Those shit was
Now they're gonna go for, like,
15.
300. They're gonna go for now.
I was gonna say, if
You're gonna
they
see
find the-
everyone. Whoever has black Air Force Ones, they're gonna be flipping them.
supposedly, they did officially close for $70.
Okay.
It didn't go up much. It didn't go up higher than $70. But I do have a theory.
You have to put that back on.
Here we go.
My theory is the reason why Kendrick Lamar had that as the cover for the song because he's bought them and he's going to be wearing them during the Super Bowl.
Ooh.
Yeah.
They're a size 12. He's not a 12.
Oh,
Too
yeah,
big. Never
he
mind.
can't fit those.
Never
I
mind.
bought them
All
actually.
Drake talked about was his shoe size. Like,
Yeah.
No, yeah. That would have been dope, though.
That would have
And
been.
Yeah.
it's something
But
that
He still comes out
Right.
in Air Force
Yeah.
Ones. It's still,
And it is like wild that this was paired with the Super Bowl announcement this week.
Yeah.
no
Which
round twos.
within itself had like 20 meanings because the man's crazy.
Yeah,
If-
like
if-
he's like if like Kubrick was a rapper. He's like everything has to have like 30 layers.
Apparently, the background was to some old like speech given in a military movie. I don't know.
Patton, yeah.
It's so deep. It's almost scary.
And then on top of that, Nicki Minaj putting out a whole fucking
Yeah.
She's
pissed off rant.
What
how
a weird narrative.
Lil Wayne didn't.
Like, don't get me wrong, Nicki Minaj was the worst of it, but like, what a weird. Like, I like Lil Wayne. Like, I think Lil Wayne's incredible, but like,
He's
not-
been campaigning himself for this for a while since it pretty much got announced. That's why a lot of people are kind of shocked
I
it's
had no
Kendrick.
idea.
And I believe, from what I'm hearing correctly, Jay-Z actually has some major input with this Apple deal that the Super Bowl has. Jay-Z kind of like oversees
Yeah,
who's going to
he
be
has, and
performing
he
at
has
the
for the
halftime
last
show.
couple. He has for the last couple seasons.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which
So
is why they've gotten good.
that's why everyone was like pissed off at Jay-Z because they thought he was going to choose Wayne because they thought they had a good relationship, but
Yeah.
I guess
They
not.
were just seen together 2 weeks prior to the announcement, kind of
You
hanging
would
out
think, yeah.
somewhere. Yeah, they were hanging out together somewhere.
Yeah.
So who knows
And they might
everything
have
behind
discussed
it?
it. Yeah.
Who
I-
knows?
I
You
gotta-
just got to go with the hotter hand because you don't get paid for the halftime show. And usually, if you're doing the halftime show, that means you've got an album getting ready to release and you're going to go on tour. 'Cause that's how you're going to put all your publicity out there, is leading up to the halftime show.
Mhm.
That's what Usher did.
yeah.
My only argument, because we was talking about it with our cousin group, we were talking about it for a longer time. They could have, if they did do one. I get the respect behind Wayne. It's New Orleans. I get it. Kendrick is gonna be a better performer, but if they did do anything like Wayne, they could have done it like how they did in LA. Bring out all the big names because it could have been Big Timer,
Yeah.
Wayne.
Yeah.
For people that know New Orleans, you got Big Frida. That's the only way it would have
Yeah,
worked.
Big
Would have
Frida is
worked.
huge. Yeah.
You could have done a Hot Boys reunion.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. But other than that, Wayne doesn't have a huge performance.
Yeah,
Right.
I got
Or you could have had-
I gotta address the
If
elephant in
Kendrick
the room
didn't get-
here.
If Kendrick didn't buy Drake, then it would be, Wayne, Drake,
Oh,
Nicki.
Yeah. But
The elephant in the room.
yeah, the elephant in the room. Lil Wayne has like a horrible reputation for his live performances.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Like
Especially recently.
He's not consistent.
no,
he's not consistent.
He's not consistent. I know he has had great shows. Like I'm not saying that he's incapable of doing a great show, but like he's like famously inconsistent.
That's
like it. Like I feel like it's weird that
he did a performance at WrestleMania this year, and it was terrible.
Yeah. So like, why is it like? I get it. I get that like he's Lil Wayne. He's the most famous rapper from New Orleans. I get it, but like, this is a business decision, and like, this guy is like, what? He's gonna be a half hour late to the 20-minute halftime show performance, like.
Yeah,
you know, like like someone pointed out that like the halftime show is literally shorter than the average amount of time that he is late to his concerts.
Jeez,
like,
yeah.
So it's like, look, I have all the respect in the world for Lil Wayne, and it's okay. Not everyone has to be all things in all capacities, right? It's fine that he just has this amazing discography and like legendary mixtape run. But it's like Kendrick Lamar is the one who had the pop out this year. He's the one who has like, you know, is famous for his live performance, right? And it feels weird to just ignore all this because of like the petty politics, you know, the business politics of hip hop, right? Like it definitely seems like it was just very clearly because Kendrick Lamar, because he's the biggest name in the world right now, and. Obviously, you wouldn't do Lil Wayne because Lil Wayne is not a reliable performer. And like, you know, if they were doing a Super Bowl album, okay, but like, you know, to me that's the elephant in the room. Is that like he's just a famously poor performer.
If his performance at WrestleMania was like breathtaking, then I think he would have had more of a shot.
Yeah, that's fair.
But, like, all like you said. It's all like you said. He's so inconsistent.
Yeah. And like,
he has a catalog.
Right, he has a catalog.
He just can't. He doesn't have performance.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's got everything there. It's just his live performance is hit or miss, and you do the Super Bowl. You don't want someone that's going to be hit or miss.
You can't miss. That's the one stage you can't miss.
Yeah. I mean, a couple of us have seen Lil Wayne live, and it's like I have, and the way I would describe it is fun but not good.
Right.
Yeah. It's like you're gonna have a good time, but it's like junk food. Like just because it's fun in the moment doesn't mean it's a good thing. Right?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And that those kind of shows are like cool in their own right, but they don't scale to something like a Super Bowl.
No, and for an audience that's casual and not like into the genre, I mean, you can't escape Not Like Us. Social media, anything else. It's the song of the summer. Don't care what anybody says about Brat Summer, whatever else. It's like, that's it. Yeah, so it's going to be, it's universal enough at this point where it's like people who don't know are going to know.
Yeah.
I was literally about to say, building off of that, because like, obviously it's a music podcast. The music part is what matters. But even building off what Brandon said, it's a business decision.
It is.
From the football perspective, Wayne don't even support the Saints. He's openly supporting the Packers.
Always has been. Yeah.
And always has been.
Yeah.
And on top of that, like, I understand it's in New Orleans, but like it's the 5th time it's been there. Wayne has had other opportunities to do it. Why does it matter now?
And it's always going to be, and like because it's a football game in February, it's going to be in New Orleans often. Like,
sure.
I think the only reason why it's more of an issue now, even though they've been in New Orleans previously, I think it's an issue more now because this go around, Jay was a part of the music decision. The other time it was New Orleans, Jay
it was just NFL. It was just like the NFL making
whatever they wanted. And they wasn't going to do a primary hip hop.
Right.
Like,
and then
wasn't going to be that.
Also, when you think about it, if besides the past, I could be wrong, the past maybe 4 or 5 years, how much was really hip hop? Like the Super Bowl halftime show was like, to me, from what I remember, a lot of rock bands.
Yeah,
it didn't fade.
Maybe
parts
like the most famous one is Prince.
When the Bears went Prince. So it hasn't been really until recently with hip hop, like, because you remember
played into it.
Artists have been complaining before, like, when the fuck are we gonna get?
Because it's the fucking NFL.
Show? It's the NFL.
Like,
it's full of
black people.
Yeah, exactly.
So a whole bunch of artists was wondering, like, when is our goal? And so the past 4 or 5 years, it's been more hip hop.
Yeah,
and
I mean, last year was Usher.
That's why so many people were upset. And this is what I'm also been hearing from or seeing. It's a lot of older people and people from down south that's upset that it's not Wayne.
Yeah.
The younger people is just like,
is what
it is. What it is. We'd rather listen to Kendrick.
Yeah.
So, and when you look at the demographic of people that watch NFL, it's older.
That's true.
It's older man.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the NFL and the Apple deal and Jay-Z actually being part of it, they take more of a creative idea. They think about the stage show and the stage presence.
Yeah.
You have
And you can tell,
look what Kendrick did at the pop-out. Phenomenal. You're going to get something similar to that.
I can't wait until the Super Bowl and they do the anime clips where they're going back and forth back different angles.
Honestly, I think that creative direction he did with the pop-out, with the wop, 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 wop.
That was crazy.
I think that is one of the main reasons they took him, because they get some camera shots like that on the biggest show there is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
No,
It's going to be wild.
It's
Guys,
going to be great, and I can't
single.
wait. I can't wait to see a Kendrick Lamar concert in the middle of a Bears game. Go Bears! Super Bowl.
All right. Okay. Moving on. We've gotten through one single, so we're yapping. Wait.
That was like the biggest news of the week, though. By far.
That is. Moving on. We have a bunch of singles. We have West Side Gun actually posted a single on his Instagram in the same fashion that Kendrick did. I don't know if you guys heard it. It doesn't have an official name, but it's called What's Better Than Three Ropes, because all the wrestling stuff he's been doing. It's fantastic. It even has a feature in it. It's so good. It's so good. It's basically a music video on Instagram.
That's so good. I got to listen to it as soon as we're done with this podcast.
Absolutely. Highly recommend. And even building off of that, along the same lines of the Griselda Boys, we have the Alchemist and the Schoolboy Q. They released Ferraris in the Rain. It's already out.
This is excellent. This is awesome. I love this song. Yeah.
This is very, very good. I'm going to be honest. I've been sleeping on the Alchemist. Like, not as a producer, I understand, but I never listened to his music, like when he's rapping.
Yeah.
I need to go back.
Yeah. One of my favorite projects of this year was the project he did with Hit Boy, where they both produced and rapped on every song. It's really good.
I've been missing that. I'm going to have to go check that out. Building off of that, I think we mentioned The Weeknd already, but officially we're talking about The Weeknd. He is releasing Dancing in the Flames, and I believe there is a matching music video to this also dropping tonight. Yeah. Apparently
which was shot on the iPhone.
Yep, iPhone 16 Pro.
Yeah.
Some promo for the new phones coming out, obviously.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's The Weeknd. I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Can't wait for this album to come out.
I already have the vinyl pre-ordered.
That was smart, because I heard like the whole website crashed at one point.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I put up the concert and I saw, buy now, and then I saw it's the first press vinyl, so I want to get the first press vinyl.
That's a good idea. That's going to be worth some money as well.
Yeah.
But building off that, we have Playboi Carti is apparently rumored to drop All Red.
Did he announce a collab?
Which
Weeknd and Playboi Carti?
Oh, that was at the actual at the live show.
Yeah, we'll talk about the live show when we get to the news.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, he did have a single with Carti. But apparently Playboi Carti is supposed to be rumored to drop a single, All Red. We also had Juice WRLD dropped a 2-song EP, if you want to call it, called The Pre-Party, building up to his album that is announced to be released November 22nd.
Yeah.
But we'll talk some more about Juice WRLD later.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about Juice WRLD later, yeah.
In really good news.
Yeah.
Tory Lanez will be dropping the prison tapes, but it's only 2 songs because in some event at the prison, apparently his recording equipment got confiscated in a cell block raid.
What a world, man. What?
Man, things just work out. They always work out.
The crazy thing is, we were talking about Wayne earlier, he was able to drop a whole mixtape from a cell phone while in prison.
Well,
Tory Lanez doesn't have that privilege.
I think he lost that a few times. But yeah, that's also coming out. I think it's only 2 songs, I believe. We have 2 collabs that recently, I believe, are already out and coming out. Joey Badass and Chloe have a collab called Tell Me coming out. Should be fantastic. I'm here for it. And then Katy Perry and Doechii also have a collab single that was released, I believe, when the VMAs were on it yesterday, and they did performance with the actual song, and it sounded pretty good. So, highly recommend.
I'm just gonna say it. I'll do Katy Perry's dishes for her.
Jesus, Jeff, have some shame.
I
mean, I can't help it.
Hey, to each their own.
Yeah. I mean, if you know what clip I'm talking about, it's worth it.
Fair enough. I'll give it to you. The unhinged behavior. I'm just gonna have to say it. Yes, we'll let you have Katy Perry.
Yeah.
But
she's the GOAT for that.
Jeff, please, there's children.
Isaac is a father of 3.
Oh, that's funny.
Kids are in the room.
I have no idea what the fuck we're talking about.
No, that's not good.
Rapidly searching Google, what's going on?
Asking.
There's a viral clip of Katy Perry saying that all she wants from her man is to do the dishes, and she would suck their dick. That's all she wants.
Incredible.
So you just do the dishes for her.
Load the
you're gonna get head.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's how relationships work.
I'm the only one married. Wait. I might be able to vouch for that.
No, okay,
Isaac, why are you here?
Getting back on track.
Okay,
we did have the year debate. 2 weeks ago now?
It was 2 weeks. Yeah.
We did 2016 versus 2013. I believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we have our judge here.
Yeah. First of all, that was a great episode to listen to.
I think we did a good job.
You did a very good job. You guys made some good arguments, but I think 2016 takes the cake. And the reason why I say that, the only reason why I say that, it wasn't just because
fucking, I'm calling election fraud.
There's collusion.
It was a stolen
your pets.
Yeah, it was a stolen election. Treat me at the floor of Congress.
Oh my god.
I have in my
I can't believe you would besmirch because the internet like that.
So
I will do a coup now.
Start screaming, they're eating cats and dogs.
Time to do crime.
Yeah. They're eating cats and dogs. I wish the shooter was 3 inches to the right. 3 inches to the right.
So when I was originally listening to the podcast, I had a slight lean to 13. Especially with my age. I'm like, all right, that was some prime time for me. But when I actually went back and looked at all the albums that were released in 2016 and 2013 and saw how many albums you guys didn't mention for 2016,
there's a lot.
Yeah, I have it in my. I'm looking at it right now, and it was just like, yeah, 2016, you got it. You got it by a long shot. Because I mean,
it wasn't all hip hop either.
It wasn't all hip hop, because one album that none of you all had mentioned that came out in 2016 was a Tribe Called Quest album.
I had that written down, but yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it was looking at it now. It's just so much. Did one of you guys mention Danny Brown?
I think we did have a.
Yeah, we did. We talked about it.
Yeah, because that's right. Both years had it.
Yeah, we talked about Danny Brown. I think that was one that we conceded because Atrocity Exhibition was.
It's pretty damn good.
But it was a lot of albums. Your new favorite artist, Future, dropped twice that year.
I do love Future now.
I know you guys kind of have a thing against No Name right now. YG had dropped. Like when you go back and look, Young Thug Jeffrey had dropped,
which is a big one.
Yeah, Jeffrey was huge.
Yeah, so it. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I refuse to acknowledge anyone with the same name.
Yeah.
Huh?
I refuse to acknowledge anyone with the same name.
There can only be one.
Yeah, so I mean,
I'm the same way.
Rashad.
No,
it was a dumb year.
I was happy with the selection because I think those two are the biggest ones. So
Yeah.
I think they were both pretty well represented.
I think the only I think another year we could have gone for was 2022. I think 2022 had an insane.
Yeah.
17 had a lot.
17 was a lot. Yeah, I just think 2013 had just like just a lot of moments, man. There was a lot of just
Yeah, I
like
think
really
that's-
high
It was a turning
watermark.
point for a lot of people our age.
Yeah, definitely.
But
All right,
Congratulations. 2016.
congratulations to Jasper and Purvis. Next debate will be a trial by combat.
With
Good
that.
luck.
with
machetes.
machetes.
Be medieval times MMA.
Medieval times MMA. I'm gonna have a rope. That's
a
my
real
weapon.
thing.
Yeah.
That is a real.
That's a real thing.
That's all Jeff has been watching recently. That's all he's been watching.
I've been without a
watched
job.
it today.
I've been without a job.
I agree.
I've
though.
fallen
How
into
are those
some,
not how are those not in Ren fairs?
Yeah.
Like how do you-
Liability.
Yeah, that's a good point.
obviously you can't
Less
let people,
like it's gonna be the new death penalty. Less armor, sharper weapons. 2 guys on death row. Go at it.
that was Rome.
Yeah,
going back.
we did that.
Oh,
Yeah.
like
that
we're
was-
That's
going
a-
back in history.
Yeah,
Like
that's a
we're
movie
regressing.
right
That was
there.
Rome, and then
I was
they
gonna say
would do
very
that.
bred
And
in
then,
circuses of you.
yeah, they would do
Ooh.
that, and then they would feed some Christians to lions, and then they would.
But they will not eat us because we survived the den. No.
But yeah. Okay. Should we talk about the live show finally?
Yeah, the weekend's performance in Sao Paulo.
Yes.
I heard it
So,
was extravagant, and he brought out Playboy Cardi.
Jeff's kids.
Visually breathtaking.
Yes.
I heard there were like a Brazilian.
Did you know there were
there.
2 different streams? There was 2 different camera views.
Wait, I'm sorry, Jeff. Jasper, we're not gonna let that slide.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that was
Apparently, Travis was just there too, and like
He was.
and the same kind of
Yeah.
like intense.
Like,
Yeah, the earthquake shit. Yeah, the videos, of people's TVs like shaking
Yeah,
on the stand
yeah.
and stuff. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
headline says Travis expect earthquakes.
Brazil eating good for the first time
Breaking
since like
news.
1994.
yeah.
Amazing.
God,
What is going on?
the world is so bad.
I was gonna say the first time since Fast and the Furious.
Fair enough. I was thinking Ayrton Senna, but yeah.
Oh,
It's just okay.
but it was a great show.
Are we?
It was a great show.
It's phenomenal. But I didn't know there was 2 different camera views
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah,
Like I was watching the second camera instead of the main one.
Oh, you're watching the second?
So what was the angle for
Yeah.
the second camera then?
Isn't that just spot on?
It was like more of a higher up view.
Okay, maybe that was the one I actually looked at then. Because the one that I had looked at was kind of
Because there was one that was higher up and then there was one that was closer.
So the one that I was watching was farther back but kind of high up, where you was able to see the entire screen. behind
Yeah.
it. And then
Yeah, that's the one I was watching.
It was when I saw it, I instantly thought he might be top 3 in best performances.
Oh yeah.
Well, visually, best visual performance.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm thinking back, even when he did the Super Bowl, he did a great job. And thinking of other concerts he's had, that
yeah.
I feel like people like him, once you reach that stage anyway, you're going to be performing in the biggest stadium.
Yeah, he's a stadium artist
Yeah.
now. I don't think he could do any place in Chicago but Soldier Field.
Soldier
Soldier
Field,
Field,
yeah,
yeah.
it wouldn't be an option. So
Yeah,
you have a
Unless he did Lala, but
even
I don't know.
Lala, I agree that he's not like in the same scale of like too big for Lala, like a Beyonce or a Taylor Swift.
I think he is actually.
But like he's close.
He is.
Yeah, he's close.
I think he's officially hit that status where it's like he's too big of a name to do
Yeah,
a festival like that because so many people want to see him. He'd be better off doing 2 shows at Soldier Field or a stadium
yeah,
Yeah.
instead
Unless
of
he
doing a
just
festival.
yeah. Unless like because like unless he just wanted to. But then
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah, and I don't. The Weeknd's on this last album run.
Yeah,
I don't
this-
think he's gonna want to
be
do that.
he's definitely doing. It's definitely going to be a summer stadium tour next year. I guarantee
Yeah.
it.
I'm here for it.
And
Yeah, United
I-
Center wouldn't cut it.
Yeah, United Center wouldn't cut it. Like maybe Northerly Islands. Maybe.
No, that's too small.
Yeah.
No way. Show.
Yeah.
I mean, he could do United Center if he did like 3 nights in a row, like Friday,
Which is
Saturday,
awesome.
Sunday.
Yeah.
If he's doing the winter time, but other than that, Soldier Field's got to be the place.
Yeah. And I think it's a guarantee that we'd all be there.
Oh, yeah.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
He moved up to, I think, number 1. Yeah.
Have you guys seen
he's
the
my
trailer
100%.
I've never seen him live.
No,
Think
never
so?
seen him. Yeah.
for the album?
Think so.
Have any of you guys seen the trailer he put out for the album?
Hurry Up Tomorrow. No, I just
Yeah.
saw the album.
Yeah.
Like the
Watch the trailer.
Oh, you
God.
mean
The animated trailer.
Wait, animated trailer.
He has an animated trailer.
I know there's something that he dropped that was the title release video.
Not that. So
Okay, I watched the title release video. That was what I
That's
did
what I
watch.
was it the one with the little boy? Okay, I'll share it with you
Maybe.
later. I'll share it with you guys in the
Maybe.
group. There's a whole video going through from House of Balloons all the way up to now, and it's animated.
Released by him?
Yes, it looks phenomenal. I just saw it yesterday.
Okay.
I'll share it in the group.
Okay, yeah, I'm excited for that.
Mm,
Moving on.
I don't see it on his YouTube, but yeah, you'll have to share that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
share
I'll
that.
share-
I'll watch it.
Firstly, if he released it, yeah, that's different.
Yeah.
Because I saw a snippet.
I
on
can
his
see, like, a
Instagram.
fan making
I saw a
something.
snippet on his
Yeah.
Instagram, which led to that took me somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it was three different trailers, and someone had put them all 3 together.
Yeah.
I'll share it with you guys.
If you do like a movie type of thing. Anyway, some other stuff going on. We have Martin Ware from Heaven 17 was recently offered a super low deal from Rockstar. They offered him $7,500.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is wild.
GTA
That's
6.
nuts. This is going to be the highest selling media product of all time. And
Yes.
GTA 5 has made more money than most countries' GDP. Like
That's such a lowball offer to a musician.
a 4-digit offer from Rockstar Games, that's pathetic.
And
I
it's
was gonna say-
for the rights to the song in perpetuity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That you don't get. I feel like GTA is almost big enough where like
They
you can
like
actually
muscle
make money
people.
off of the radio, off of GTA. Like act like the radio's a
Oh,
part
there's
of
like
the streaming
fake
service. You
payola,
would
like
make
the same
money.
way there's like a fake economy. Like,
Literally, you would get money off.
yeah.
So
No,
yeah,
yeah,
they-
GTA is like an
mainly-
ultra high exposure area. Right? Like people place like real ads in the GTA world.
that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. So,
Yeah, like not even just like GTA Online. Like they update the
actual
game.
story,
Yeah,
like
like
the
the
world.
actual story world they put shit in. Like
because GTA 5 has been around for forever, and
Over
that
10
is
years.
essentially
10 years.
updated monthly, if not weekly. So
yeah.
it's real life stuff. So 7,500 is
Way
aggressive.
too low.
and a bit.
It has to be at least 100,000, if not a million.
It's wild to me just like how even though the product that they produce is so much better, Take-Two manages to be just as shitty as like Activision, Blizzard,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
like any of these other big studios. It's just depressing, you know? It's like
It's capitalism.
just because the product is good doesn't mean that the company is, you know?
Yeah, it's
pathetic.
it's the push and pull of economics, right? Like just, it doesn't matter how much even integrity there is at Rockstar or Take-Two, right? Like there's always going to be the pressure for the person making the game to pay as little as possible so they make as much money as possible when they release the game, and then the artist is obviously going to want as much as possible from it for the rights, which they should. You
Yep.
know, like, do I think that there's probably a happy balance? For sure. But yeah, no, like any offer like this should have at least another figure. Like,
Yeah, I don't see how they can get away with a lump sum and not do a royalty for a product
I
that
agree.
returns
That's
such a
insane.
revenue stream. GTA 5 has made $8.6 billion in 11 years of operation, and people
Yeah.
still pour money into it.
yeah,
Like, it just doesn't make sense.
no, totally agree. Totally agree.
It is weird though, because even going off of that, the business aspect of it, I feel like the gaming industry is the most disconnected to this actual like consumer fan base. Because like the actual prices that anything around gaming has been absurd recently. They've been driving up prices for
Yeah.
controllers, for the actual systems, for services.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
and then they see the backlash and turn back within like 3-5 days. Like even the fact that you would try to do it to see if they accepted it is just so immoral.
It's because I have a whole thing. I've watched a lot of stuff about this. It's because in the last 10 years, the majority of video game studios, like the majority stakeholding, have been purchased by private equity, right? And when private equity owns the majority of a business, it becomes a numbers game. It becomes about profit extraction. The business is no longer ran by people who love video games and want to make money by selling you a video game. It becomes, how do we use this as a platform to make as much money as possible? And look at like all the change in gaming in the last 10 years, right? Like it was about 10 years ago when microtransactions started, you know, Skinner boxes, you know, V-Bucks, shit like that, right? So it is just like where it's a money problem. It's where is the money for these games coming from, right? It's the same reason why like we don't, and like the cost of production is so high on games now, you know, because every time, you know, a game wants to take advantage of like the latest technology, every generation of computing like requires double, triple the workforce, you know, and like that makes games more expensive. And like any other business, the places where the people at the top are going to cut it is labor, right? And it's like, well, you can tell, you know?
Yeah.
You can tell.
Another thing that's kind of sucks, but is also interesting about that is like, if you look at the price of physical media, or not even just physical, but digital media too, in the gaming space over time, like we see that the price of games fell really hard in like the mid to late 90s and then stayed very low relative to the rest of the market for consumer goods for a very long time. So you look at prices for Atari 2600 games adjusted for inflation, those would be like $180 today for like that cartridge. And as the tech got better, it made the product production cheaper. But then there comes a point where the development cost, like you said, the development costs associated are offsetting the tech enhancement in a way where it's no longer feasible to sell a game for $60 like it's been for the last 15 years. It goes up to 70 to 80 to whatever. And so like this is an industry just like in like hard drive storage, like prices really bottomed out for a very long time, and now things are just kind of like starting to pick back up again, and people are noticing because it's a want, not a need, right? So it's like you're not going to be super jazzed about an extra $10 every time.
Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, no, I think the workers should seize the means of production, and we should all march forward in a communist future. Anyway, continue.
You could have just said a revolution now and left it at
Yeah,
that.
revolution now.
We have a release date finally for Futures mixtape coming up, Mixtape Pluto.
I'm excited. I got the email about the vinyl. If I had money, I would have maybe have gotten it because that was a pretty red vinyl. But I'm excited about this. I've revisited we don't trust you, and we still don't trust you, like the last few weeks. It's been a really great year for Future, except for one thing. I'm excited for this. This is gonna be fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'll be there. And then last but not least, some very sad news. I guess we'll be seeing Childish Gambino, but it is now delayed until further notice for health reasons. Not really announced, but yeah.
I heard his Atlanta show was like a huge COVID super spreader event.
Oh Jesus!
Oh wow.
Checks out.
Yeah.
Yeah, with how intense his shows have been looking, if he ended up getting COVID, you know he's going to be winded. It's going to take him take him some time because he'll be down, 2 weeks at least, and then have to ramp back up with all that cardio and all that. Yeah,
I can't even imagine the rescheduling, and it's going to be a mess. It might.
I think we'll either get him around Thanksgiving time, I think, or next year.
The same thing happened on his Awaken My Love tour. If you remember, he hurt his foot halfway through and had to cancel a bunch of dates on the latter half. I had a friend out in Seattle who had tickets, and then it got canceled.
No, it's a bummer. It's a bummer, but for me, like this part of the year is super fucking busy. So I was happy to punt, and like I have like nothing on the calendar for like a while. So I was kind of happy to have it be put in a more convenient place because I'm actually going to be going.
That's
now.
As long as it doesn't happen when I'm in Austin, I'm chilling.
Yeah. It probably won't be until after the European tour, right? I assume that.
I don't know.
Oh,
I mean, Travis moved his date when he got delayed, and it was only like what,
A couple
month?
weeks, yeah.
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 So we'll see.
Yeah, and when Schoolboy Q had to move his date, he only moved it a couple days.
Yeah.
But that was what I was worried about because, you know, I'm going to be gone that weekend and the weekend after, so I didn't want him to just move it a couple days. But it sounds like the European tour, which was supposed to pick up only a couple days after us, like it hasn't been postponed.
Interesting.
It was my birthday.
Yeah.
It was on my
Come
birthday.
up with something.
The concert was literally there on my birthday.
Oh, sorry about that, Isaac.
Got robbed.
Damn.
All right. Are we doing scores in session?
No, let's not do that. We have a lot to talk about.
Fair enough.
Also, the episode is already as long as last week's episode.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay.
Moving on.
So, who wants to introduce this heavy ass topic?
I feel like Jasper
see dead people.
I mean, there's no easy way around it. Just with Rich Homie Quan passing and Mac Miller's anniversary of his death just happening, we decided to do like a roundtable talk, a discussion about our most impactful deaths. I mean, we did leave out some obvious heavy hitters, but these are just some of our top.
Yeah. People who have passed in the industry and have really affected us personally. And ones we think have impacted like the genre and have moved forward. So who would want to go first?
Do we just go alphabetically?
That means me. Okay. Yeah, we can go alphabetically. Yeah, no, I'll go first. And you know what? Because the first one I want to bring up, because I remember when we first started talking about this, it was like, oh, most impactful deaths. And I was like, well, the one I really want to talk about is definitely not one of the most impactful deaths in the history of hip-hop. But it was one that I think has been interesting. And I think has had, like, a really outsized influence on hip-hop and then also other genres. And I want to talk about the death of Lil Peep. So I was in a weird spot with Lil Peep. Because Lil Peep, when he popped out, he was making this emo trap music. And I was really in love with the potential, but I just do not think he was there yet. He dropped an album like a week or two before he passed, or like a project called Come Over When You're Sober. And honestly, like I thought there was a lot of potential in it. You know, I would compare him to like a lesser Don Toliver in that like, oh, I can like see it, but like it's just like not there yet. And what I think was super interesting was watching that whole emo trap movement like just really take over like a certain subsect of the internet. And if you go to Summer Smash and you go to the artists who are playing against the ones we want to see, you'll see that influence alive and well today. And something I think has also been like really interesting is how a lot of rock bands in the 2020s have really started to emerge now as people in the late 2010s, like after Lil Peep and like the blowing up of like emo hip hop. Like I think a lot of people like got that and they were like, this is cool, but like we want the real thing. And then there's been an explosion of rock bands in the space. And there's just, you know, bands are in a better spot than they have been in like 10, 15 years. And I think it all is like a domino effect from like the movement Lil Peep started. So I think it's insane that he didn't even get to like do a full length. Like this is all this, like this entire impact that has probably spread to more genres than anyone else than we're going to talk about today. Like was from someone who had not released a project longer than 7 tracks.
Yeah, I'm actually.
Yeah, I can agree with the rock band, like, because I can see a lot of influence and similarities to like Youngblood.
Yeah, there's a lot
what Lil Peep had to bring.
It's also been like a reaction, like people wanting to like, not so much being like Youngblood is like very much like in the vein, like iterating on Little Peep's sound. But I think it is fair to say that strain of hip hop is kind of does feel like a watered down version of emo. So I think that whetted a lot of people's thirst for like the real thing. And I think that's why a lot of bands are blowing up because, like this entire movement has really, whetted people's appetites for that rock sonic sound. And that's why I think we're kind of living in a better time for rock bands than we have in a long time.
I was going to say a lot of the younger generation picked up on that rock hip hop.
And like Trippie Redd did, like Little People's called like shouted out a bunch of times on Taboo, Denzel Curry's album. Like I do also think Little Peep is part of like the massive narrative around like so many artists his age have passed because it's a drug problem, right? Like there's multiple problems going on that we'll talk about, but like Little Peeps I think was like a watershed moment for like the SoundCloud era's like overindulgence in drug use, and I say that as someone who enjoys altering his consciousness, but I think it went to like a really dark place, and I think Little Peep's death really was like a wake-up call, and I think like you did see like a lot of changes after that, after Juice WRLD, after Mac, right? And like Little Peep was really like was almost like the canary in the coal mine for this entire thing. And I think his death spurred like some of the most interesting conversations about what this means, right? Mm-hmm. When people like I forget all the time that Taboo is very much inspired by Little Peep. So yeah, that was my first one. That was one I really wanted.
Refresh my memory because I know him and XX were really close. Did X die first or was it Peep? Because I know they were first. Peep first, okay.
Yeah.
X died in the summer of 2018, I think.
Yeah.
Because I know their deaths weren't too far apart.
No, they were like a year. There was like a year separating them.
Yeah, but that's still not that far, I feel.
Yeah, definitely when you're our age. But yeah.
Yeah.
Because Peep passed in 2017.
Lil Peep was November 15th, 2017, and X was June 18th, 2018.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
so less than a year.
Yeah.
No, that's crazy. I mean, it's just so natural, like you said, that subgenre of hip hop is typically around very negative and depressive things. Yeah. So obviously, drug abuse is just going to attach to that, like.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah, no, that was the first one I wanted to talk about. So.
Okay.
Isaac's next.
We're doing round robin. Yeah. Okay, so the first artist I picked, I decided to do Jay Dilla. I kind of wanted to give him respect on his producer side because I think there's still artists even today that still kind of mimics how they cut how they sample and different things like that. So the continuation in the industry was just massive. And then with the group they had with Slum Village, they during that time they were making some great music. I know their biggest song is I don't even know if say for their biggest song, but for not the heavy listener, one of the biggest songs with Kanye, and that's when Kanye was just blowing up. So,
and that's one of Kanye's biggest influences is Jay Dilla. And look at all the Kanye influences that we have today.
Yeah,
exactly. It's a chain reaction. So that's why I picked him first because I didn't want to just go straight for the rapper. I wanted to find somebody that played other factors behind the scene.
No, I like that.
He was on my list.
Yeah.
Just for that factor, like the domino effect where he's influenced. You still hear his influences today.
Yeah. He's influenced everyone. Donuts is probably the best instrumental hip hop project of all time.
Yeah, easily.
Yep.
Easily.
Yep.
All right. Is that the only producer we have?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes and no.
My honorable mention is a producer, but
okay.
All right, cool. All right, Jasper.
Yeah, so I kind of want to touch on my honorable mention first. My honorable mention was X, just because I think it's the Lil Peep exactly what Brandon said about Lil Peep, but elevated to like an even more kind of universal pop appeal. I think that definitely had a knock-on effect and really kind of influenced an entire age demographic that really has kind of latched onto that sound and then seeks it in other artists, which is why we see so many artists today kind of doing a copy paste of the rage sound that I think started to emerge around this time. I think,
X was
Playboy,
like proto rage.
Yeah, so like Playboy Cardi and Whole Lotta Red and all that stuff is like a refinement of X and like Floor 555 and stuff like that, just like super intense, gainy, all that stuff. And I think that's really like an important kind of musical stepping stone to explain where we are today. But in terms of actual influence, not just on like musical culture, but also community culture, and also even just like I would say work ethic across the genre, Nipsey Hussle's my first pick.
That's a good one.
Not the most influential for us here in the Midwest, but for the West Coast, I remember this being just an absolute fucking moment. Like him being such a pillar in his community in LA, and just everything from like the clothing brand to the other entrepreneurial things to being very vocal about anti-gang violence, anti-gun violence, and what that meant to the community, and the fact that like LAPD basically offered to continue his initiatives after he passed.
Yeah.
All of these things just being like such a huge part of someone who I think was a lot deeper than just like a lot of the superficiality we get in hip hop in terms of like the way people present themselves. Every second is like a battle for our attention for artists. And you have to really kind of dumb yourself down and portray yourself in a lot of cases as like a one trick pony, like so that your listeners go to you for that thing. And if you don't do that thing that they like, then a lot of the time you might get swept under the rug. And that we see like the micro trends and everything else that comes with it, that continues. But someone like this, and we've got other artists on the list who break the mold in that sense as well, but someone like this who really is that multifaceted and has more depth, I think is just that influential because of those reasons.
Mm. No,
Yeah.
I think this is an excellent pick, honestly. Yeah. This is one of the best.
It was another one on my list. Because his influences, his entrepreneurial skills, like he had his own store, he had his own cannabis brand, he had his own clothing brand. Yeah. He literally had his hand in everything, and he was so influential on trying to stop the gang violence. And
he was a huge part of the community. That's the thing, right? Yeah. And that's like
and he stayed in the hood.
Yeah,
and he stayed in the hood.
He made because that's what community is, right? And like I do agree that like, and I'm really happy Jasper brought up this artist and like his point about us not seeing it here in the Midwest, because that's like this was real, and that's why we don't see it. Because it's on the ground and affecting the people that actually need it. So I think Nipsey Hussle, I've never been like huge into him musically, but like just as a member of his community is someone to really be admired. So I'm really happy we can give him a little bit of a shout out.
All right, so I guess I'm next. My first artist is probably an artist that impacted a lot of people that you didn't even know. I have a list of stuff that I'm going to go over. I'm going with Mac Miller. He had only 6 albums released in his time. This hit me really hard because me and him are literally like less than a month apart in age. So, like, being that close in age, Brandon, same age, like, and seeing how he overdosed, and like, he was just hitting his prime. He was just hitting his prime. Like, with swimming, and then doing the whole swimming in circles, having that whole idea and that concept, phenomenal. And when he died, he had dedicated performances from Niall Horn, Elton John, Drake, and Childish Gambino. They all took time out of their concerts to dedicate a song to him.
Yeah.
Like Elton John and Niall Horn, he never even collaborated with. And not even just that, the people that he inspired and who had touched their lives, where they like went to him for wifely advice. Ed Sheeran, Halsey, John Mayer, Kalani, SZA, Lil Yachty, Wiz Khalifa, Macklemore big time because he was going through his own drug problems. G-Eazy, Anderson .Paak, Earl Sweatshirt, Vince Staples, Chance the Rapper, Schoolboy Q, and so many more. And we're going to be hearing all those influences for at least the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he was a massive figure.
He was a pioneer.
Yeah, and he truly, like, if he was still around when we had our debate last year about who would have been the person to step up and really shepherded hip hop into a new generation, it would have been Mac.
Because he's bringing this whole jazzy rap to it.
Just a level of musicianship, which, like, you will see, like, other really high quality artists like Anderson .Paak you brought up, like, really show off that musicianship too. But, like, Mac Miller was also, like, a very mainstream artist. I would say, like, even way more so than Anderson .Paak.
Oh yeah,
right. So bringing
he'd go under his alias Larry Fisherman for any production stuff he did.
Yeah,
and we grew up with him. That's why
exactly.
Yeah, like, that's the other thing.
Because
we grew up with him.
Saw the development.
Yeah,
exactly. From where he started to where he left, that's massive. That's I think that's bigger than like how Drake went. Or how Kendrick went, like the improvements Mac went, because Mac Miller always had to
reinvent
himself because he was always being compared to the next Eminem,
and it was
the next Villain Ice, and it was just him.
It was
He was just a Jewish boy from Pittsburgh.
Literally, yeah.
But you remember when he died, I had texted you, and I had said the last album he released before he died. It was almost, for me personally, was almost a perfect goodbye.
Send off.
Yeah.
It was a perfect send off.
Like when you go back and listen to it,
it was too good.
It was too good.
It was scary good.
Like, when you listen to certain lyrics, it was almost like he was saying,
"This man was at peace."
I think, I'm finally at peace. I think, like it's really eerie.
It's kind of prophetic. Yeah, Freddie Mercury, same thing. With. Is it the lyrics on Bohemian Rhapsody? It's like he didn't have AIDS yet, or he didn't know he had AIDS yet, but a lot of the stuff about like my body hurts and like aches and pains and stuff like that. And so it was very prophetic of like what had ended up happening to him.
Yeah. Black Star by David
Black Star,
Bowie.
Well, yeah, he knew he had cancer though. That was like
yeah.
It was scary even on top of that, because someone did the autopsy and I can't fact check it. They said he was listening to the album when he passed away. And the album ended around the time that he was about to die. And I'm like, that's scary.
I mean, the music video where he buries himself.
That's what I'm saying.
So,
that's weird.
What song is that again?
Self-Care.
Self-Care, that's such
I
a
love
good
that
video.
song. Yeah.
Yeah.
God, this is the one that hurts. This was probably more than any other celebrity death.
Sure.
Besides maybe Leonard Nimoy, like this one hurt really bad.
I would say this and Kobe.
Yeah,
those two.
Man.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I was going to recover. That was tough.
Yeah, those are two heavy hitters.
The one after this that Purvis is about to bring up is that for me. That was this next one was mine, but yeah,
which makes sense because you're younger than.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mac Miller. I also I only knew his early stuff. I didn't keep up with his career the same way. So
I just wish I was able to see him later in life. Like I wish I was able to see him on that. Like he was gearing up to tour with Jid.
Yeah,
that would have been nuts.
Wow.
And then we just got that news about who did he ask recently? Like we just found out he asked somebody to be in his video. I just saw this across my feed. It wasn't like Steve Wozniak or somebody like that, was it? Like it was somebody else.
Oh, it was the dude from MySpace.
Oh yeah,
Tom from MySpace.
Tom from MySpace.
Tom, yeah.
I think one of the hardest ones I had to learn was on Talib Kweli's podcast. LP talked about how after that tour with Jid, he was going to do a project with Mac Miller when he came to New York. Man. And I'm like, yeah, that would have been something to listen to too.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit, man. Like
the production on that album
would have been unreal. Would have been
Everyone loves him. Everyone loved him.
Mac Miller was just like he really was like just such a perfect ambassador for hip hop. and like
especially the changes that hip hop was going through.
And I think like something that hurt for me personally was like it was kind of turning into a therapy session, but like when we all watched our favorite artists crash and burn over the last couple of years, right?
Yeah,
like,
dude.
Imagine how much easier that would have been if we had someone like Mac Miller. I think that is where I'm thinking is that I really do think, especially with what has happened to Kanye, like,
yeah,
Can
you all believe he wrote the Schoolboy Q album?
Yeah. I love that. Dude, I love that's like one of my favorite tweet interactions of all time. Also, yeah, like the friendship between Mac Miller and Schoolboy Q was one of the best things that ever happened on the internet.
Top tier.
I remember just watching vines of like Mac Miller throwing $4, being it's Schoolboy Q's whole bank account. Like,
between that and Tyler, like, oh no, I hope I don't fall.
All right, do we want to move on to the next one?
Yes.
I'll just sit here and cry about Mac all day.
Oh my god, I'm gonna cry about this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna cry about this one too.
Let's go.
Everyone prepare. For my first choice, I did do Juice WRLD. One of the more recent ones that passed away, unfortunately, due to drug abuse while being, I believe, in Midway or over here.
Yeah, dude, this is the saddest fucking story. Yeah.
Yes.
Brandon, do you want to do it? Do you want to go through it?
I don't.
Jasper, go ahead.
All
this is your person.
Set the scene. It's January of 2020.
Yeah.
Juice WRLD's birthday has just passed. He's flying back into Chicago on a private plane. CPD
with a bunch of illegal drugs.
Yeah, CPD intercepts the plane as it comes down. They want to search it in a last-ditch, like, panicked effort to, like, make it look like there are less drugs. Juice WRLD ends up doing a bunch of the drugs in, like, that are on the plane in his bags, and immediately fucking ODs in the airport. He gets rushed to the medical center there. I think they managed to get him to a hospital, but he dies in the hospital. Like, it was like, I think, a week, like 5 or 6 days after his 20th birthday, something.
I think it was 21st.
Yeah, and at the time, I was 22, 23, 22. And it's just like, I had like gotten into him a year prior, and was like, just, again, it's like such a contemporary thing of like it being somebody your age. It's like, it could be anybody you know. And just a little while before, this is a little personal, but like my girlfriend's brother, same thing. So not on a private plane, but yeah, same thing. So it was just like one thing and then another thing. I just felt like nobody was safe in that sense. And it's like somebody who you are really looking forward to seeing what comes next, between Goodbye and Good Riddance being the breakout hit that it was, and all the stuff he was promoting on his socials before the next album came out. It was just like, there was so much excitement around this career. He had just done Hot Ones in Chicago at ComplexCon in 2019, and he was like the new hometown hero. He really was. He was becoming
that, like, really hometown hero is the best way to put it.
Yeah, and it was just such a sad, like, sudden stop to everything, and that's the way it goes sometimes. But it was just a really difficult time, and in the dead of winter too, where everything's like bleak, there's no sun. It was just a very challenging time.
No, it's true, and for me at least, the reason I went with Juice WRLD is because, like, building off of Little Peep and building off of
Mac Miller
X that you mentioned earlier. Yeah. Like, I feel like this is the climax of it. Like, of all the work that they put in, all the changes in the dynamics and the culture and how to make it fit within hip hop, we wouldn't have Juice WRLD without those people. And I feel like the combination of the prior work done by other legends in their subgenre and his actual potential, like, out of any artist I've seen pass in terms of like potential, scary. Like, there was no roof for him. You can look up him doing freestyles for hours. It's insane what he brought to the table. So it is, in terms of like, Derrick Rose is the biggest what if for me in sports. Juice WRLD is the biggest what if for me in hip hop. Like, that man could have changed everything. Yeah, if he really wanted to, and he would have had 100% of at least one demographic, like one age group. Everyone would have loved him, and then he would have tapped into all the other ones. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
Just
also,
think of the collaborations we could have gotten with him. Like,
Yeah, dude.
just think if Mac Miller and him were able to team up.
Which it would have
Yeah.
inevitably happened.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I did lie. It was December of 2019, so a month prior, and he had just turned 21.
Yeah.
It was 6 days after his 21st birthday.
Yeah.
Some scary stuff, man. Some
Yeah.
scary stuff.
When you're doing pills or when you're shooting up stuff, you can't trust where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. And just
So-
like little people, like you said, I don't want to make them out to be like a martyr, but it's a learning lesson, and it hits
It
the
is.
hardest when
Yeah.
it's your role.
Yeah.
So
And I do think there's something to be said like about how obviously artists are still passing and artists are still passing from drugs, but I do feel like in the SoundCloud era, it felt like there was an epidemic of it.
yes,
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it feels like we're pulling out of that. Right? I think there are still other systemic problems that we will talk about. But like I don't think any I think it's getting a little bit better, and I think it's probably because of all these legends and all these potential future legends, or just guaranteed future legends like Juice
Yep.
WRLD. Like
Yeah. And also a weird kind of prophetic feeling with him. Like songs like I'll Be Fine and Hurt Me, where he literally says, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but the drugs won't hurt me." And then stuff like this happens. It's just, damn.
youth.
Ugh,
Foolish.
boy.
Yeah,
Should we keep going? Should we just rip rolling? Because this is
Yes.
sad. I don't want
Run it.
Round-
Moving forward.
Okay, so
Topic this time.
I had to talk about this guy. This guy, we're doing a whole year-long special about him, and this is MF Doom.
Yes.
And I think one of the things that make it special is like one like it was so MF Doom the way he died. Like it was because the dude wallowed in obscurity for the first 10 years of his career. Right? Like Mad Villainy, as iconic of an album as it is now, right? It was 10 years before people gave a shit about it, let alone his earlier stuff.
Yeah.
Right? And when did MF Doom die? I believe it was in 2020, 2019.
It was.
Yeah, it was in 2020. Right? It maybe even closer to 2021.
October 31st, he died on Halloween of 2020.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
That's
very
so fitting.
right?
Yes,
And
This
he
motherfucker.
chose that death.
And in
Facts.
the decade before he died, especially in the latter half of 2015, like MF Doom's credibility and like his star started to rise, and he really started to get that credit as being like the best underground rapper of all time. And right as he was about to ascend in that spot, he dies. And with the whole villain motif, you can't help but he dies on Halloween, and now he is like the greatest underground rapper who ever lived. It is undebatable, right? Like his death in and of itself, like in a way that I think is unique from any other rapper we're going to talk about tonight. Like he very much like manufactured his journey around it, which, considering the way MF Doom acted and the way he navigated his career, I don't necessarily I think this was like one of the only times where I don't blame the fans for being like, is this shit real? Like,
Yep.
like I think like it was even so outrageous. I don't think the family announced it until like a week later.
Yeah, it was
Right.
his wife put up a post on his Instagram with a letter to him. That
Yeah,
was the
and
thing.
I think
Yeah.
and I think another thing is that because MF Doom died of complications around I think like a chronic illness, right?
Yeah, he had
I
like
don't
a blood
know the
pressure
deep-
medication.
Yeah,
issue,
it was
I
like a
think.
blood pressure. It was like a chronic illness, right? And I think that led to another reason why I wanted to pick Doom is because I knew so many of the people we talked about are going to be a result of systemic problems like drugs and violence, right? And I think MF Doom, in his own villainous way, is a reminder that death was always going to be a part of hip hop. If you could snap your fingers right now and make hip hop a much more healthy like art movement, which is essentially what it is, right? People are still going to die. You're still going to have MF Dooms. There's still going to be people who don't live to see like the full vision of their projects. And I think MF Doom is a great reminder of that, and a great reminder of like just the value of life. So in his own villainous way, Like, I don't think any, like, I think MF Doom really is, like, has ascended to a level. I don't know. I have nothing else to say about this. I'm trying to find an off ramp. Like,
the one thing I will say about him, when I think of him, I compare it to this. I'm going to figure out the best way to say it. When I think of MF Doom, I think of anime.
Yeah, because he was on Adult Swim. Yeah,
his music was heavy in anime, and
he was
funny,
yeah.
His career is almost like how anime is now. Growing up, only a small group of people
even anime. Knew. Like, it wasn't even like, it was so obscure that people didn't even bully people for it.
Exactly. Yeah. So like, it's like in the beginning of his career, doesn't get the recognition. Anime very small. Now anime is left and right everywhere you look, and now people have respect for him.
Yeah.
It's funny how he's tied to
so many things, right?
Yeah.
And I think that is like part of what happens, like when you kind of make yourself a symbol,
Yeah.
So it's truly a wild experience.
Yes.
And if I could quickly talk about my honorable mention, I want to talk about Capital Steez. He was a producer. He produced 1999 with Joey Badass. He died shortly after, shortly after, something like that. And Survivor's Guilt on Joey Badass's, was it 2000? Like the follow up to 1999, was just like one of the most heart wrenching songs I've ever heard. And I do think like one of my big what ifs is like, what if like Joey Badass and Capital Steez had like a full like duo run, you know? Like I think Joey Badass has a very healthy discography and legacy at this point. But I think we can all agree that maybe not where he could be in terms of like, not even like in terms of like mainstream popularity, but also like just where he could be in discussions among fans like us.
He could be bigger.
100%. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So yeah, that was my second guy and my honorable mention. It is your turn, Isaac.
Okay. So my second guy, a lot of people may not know who he is or the impact that he made, but Fat Man Scoop. If you listen to Missy Elliott, Timbaland, Sierra doing that late 90s, early 2000s run, he was probably somewhere yelling in the back of that song. And to me, when I think of the hype man, he was one of the biggest hype mans that was around.
Like before Lil Jon before Lil Jon, right?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
That's a great way of putting it, pretty much. And I mean, and there's so many times when I was younger and still going to the clubs, you would hear, if you got $100 bill, put your hands up. You got a $50 bill. Yeah, so he just made a big impact. And then in his own community, because I believe he was from Connecticut, if I'm not mistaken. But he was still recently making a huge impact in his home. I found it funny that him and I both have the same first name, Isaac. So for me personally, during the times that I was growing up, it was almost impossible not to hear him anywhere on any song.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate how he died. He died doing what he enjoyed. He literally performed, walked off the stage, and had a heart attack. So, and this was 3 weeks ago, maybe now? 2-3 weeks ago?
Yeah, it was recent.
Yeah. He was in the middle of performing, and boom, had a heart attack. So,
like 50 something, right?
Yeah, he was in his yeah. So, yeah, that's my second guy. Should I go ahead and mention my honorable mentions?
Yeah,
sure.
Okay.
I mean, we have a lot. I was going to say we could just save them all for the end.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Whatever you want to do then. Okay.
Because we do have
I was going to say
we have a lot.
Yeah. I just know. Well, at least one of my honorable mentions kind of reminds me of Scoop, Nate Dogg.
Yeah,
One of my homies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Because it was like, hey, in LA, what song was Nate Dogg not in singing the chorus for? Especially thinking about the movie Head of State. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That
No, I
Totally
totally
agree.
agree.
Jasper.
Next up is one that we've talked about at length. We've done an album review this year. For me, is Pop Smoke. And I will say, I'll be the first person to say, based on even what we talked about in that episode, again, not the most globally influential, not like a Juice WRLD level or a Mac Miller level, but I think in the sense that there was a very strong, short, early career that had the potential to really make waves locally that then kind of got cut short. Pop Smoke was 20 years old, and we went over it in our review episode, but
And he really crystallized the drill sound coming out.
Totally.
Like,
Yeah.
like, I think you're right when you say like he doesn't have like the massive influence of people like Juice WRLD and Mac Miller who had like a lot more years before them, but like he had a shit ton of influence for how long he was actually in the game.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah,
like
I
he's
don't-
still a high watermark creatively, I think, for that movement.
Yeah, I don't think you get someone like an Ice Spice without
We
someone
100% though.
Yeah.
Ice Spice is Pop Smoke for girls. I've been saying it since
Yeah.
her second song.
Yeah, so it's one of those things
Yeah.
where like there definitely are influences in like a very localized sound and localized sense. It's very New York. It's very drill. But yeah, just one of those things where he came out, had this like incredible run of like early mixtapes. First album was about to come out, and then boom, gun violence victim. So just another kind of really unfortunate situation, but again, also very involved in his community. He was still living in Canarsie, out in New York, or Canarsie. Those neighborhoods always get me. But and just like very much into the local like Brooklyn everything, like the way people kind of got along and lived there, and some of the local politics and things like that. But it was just like another sudden thing. So definitely up there for me. I still revisit his projects like regularly.
Yeah.
Your two artists that you picked mirror in a weird way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
East Coast, West Coast.
Yeah.
People didn't heavily know them until they died, and everyone listened to their music.
Yeah.
Both of them died due to location being shared.
Yeah.
Literally, both of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's like if I pick PNB Rock too, same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yes. Pop
Yeah.
Smoke.
So yeah, that actually works out with my next one. I'm going with Big Pun. He was
Yeah.
probably one of the biggest Latin rappers out there. He was the first Latin rapper to score a #1 single on the pop charts. He was one of the first Latin rappers to go mainstream with success. He
Yeah.
helped influence the Bronx style so much.
Mhm.
He was part of Terror Squad right at the beginning. He helped Murder Records blow up.
Yep.
Fat Joe wouldn't be where he is today
Oh.
without Big
No, he
Pun, or
wouldn't,
Big
no.
Punisher, depending on how you want to say it. Fat Joe probably also wouldn't have lost all that weight without Big Pun, because Big Pun died of a heart attack after, like, not long after he released his first album,
Yeah.
because he was that heavy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So he wasn't even able to live through any of the success he had off that album. He had literally only 2 albums come out, and like out of the rappers you hear today, like Cardi B, you can in her sound get heavy Big Pun influences, and French Montana, another Brooklyn artist that you get heavy Big Pun influences out of.
No.
Yep.
For anybody who's listening who wants to go real deep on some cool Big Pun backstory, look into the photographer Danny Hastings. He's based out of New York. He shot the album cover for Capital Punishment, and he also shot his most known work is he photographed the 36 Chambers album cover for Wu-Tang.
Interesting.
And I happened to go with a buddy of mine in New York when I was there last in like 2022. I happened to go to an art opening that was a series of his work printed, and he was there, and he talked for like an hour. He was just going crazy. Loved talking about all of his work and his influences, but super influential in the East Coast scene and photography and everything else. And just there's a lot of insight there into the careers of people like this. There's somebody like him. His social media presence is crazy.
Yeah.
Who would you with Big Pun? Who would you compare him to? Because I was also doing research on him because I was considering picking him, and I had found the video where they named 2 artists that they feel like if you had put them together would create Big Pun. Who would be 2 artists that you would think you could compare him to?
I honestly didn't even think that far ahead.
Yeah, like that, because he had like a very, I mean, it's in his name, right? Like he had a very punchline based delivery style, and that's just not as common anymore.
So the 2 artists they said they feel like kind of would make a copy of Big Pun with if you took Eminem and mixed it with Biggie.
I don't know.
That's the comparison that they were putting because with
I don't know because they were around at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's why. I mean, I would have to think of someone more like out now.
I think
that
someone
we can
who's like
compare to him.
I think like the person who has like the most obvious Big Pun influence like out now is that Mexican OT for sure.
That's a good one.
I give that Mexican OT actually. I give more as my honorable mention Pimp C comparisons
for sure because he's from Texas.
The dirty South style.
Sure, but like he's still like in his lyricism, and he's talked a lot about how Big Pun has influenced him.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So I think like multiple things can be true about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, but
if I actually had to put it on, I'd say probably Big X, the plug. I'd say right now, because with Big X being closer to size of Big Pun, and seeing him at Lala, how he can just inhale so much oxygen and
he's really good
spit out a verse that is not short and legible, and that's what Big Pun was known for. Like he was able to inhale so much oxygen for these long verses and just spit it right out.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think it's a good pick.
Yeah. All right, Purvis. All right. Tell us about who's on your shirt.
Yes, I will close this out. I believe mine is the death that happened the longest ago, 2000.
She is the oldest. I mean, I wasn't even in high school yet, so that tells you how long ago that was.
Yeah, it was I thought this was in the 90s, Aaliyah.
It's in the 90s.
I think it was 99.
Wow. Yeah, it was in the
99. Yeah, right. Yeah, I thought it was late 90s.
Yeah, she died in an airplane accident.
Yeah.
Yep. She was only 22.
Yeah.
2001. 2001.
2001. Yeah, August 25th, 2001. She was 22 years old.
That's insane. But yeah, she is the queen of R or the princess of R&B. They said the queen of urban pop. Probably one
huge
of the
career.
Yeah,
no
influence goes nonstop. The potential was insane. She could do.
She could have been anywhere. She could have been. She could have been Beyonce.
Right.
So that's an argument that a lot of people my age have. Would Beyonce be Beyonce if Aaliyah was still around?
Yeah, because Beyonce's career was still revolved around her mother.
Yeah.
Yes.
Beyonce's mom would have made sure she had the career she had.
I do agree with that, but the industry was already leaning on Aaliyah because you know how the industry could be when they pick someone. It's like, okay, we're gonna push more on you. Like Beyonce still. Let me not take that away from Beyonce. Beyonce still would have been big, but would she have been?
I got a different comparison. We wouldn't have Rihanna or SZA today if it wasn't what Aaliyah was able to do. I feel.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like those are so long after that there always would have been space. I think like with Beyonce, the thing is that like
Destiny's Child would have still happened.
I get that, but I think like a huge part of what makes Beyonce now is that she was like the only fish in that pond. Not the only, but like the biggest fish in that pond. If you have like another artist that big competing against you, it's hard to become Beyonce. Look at the same thing, like literally the same thing is happening with Taylor Swift right now. Like, because there isn't another artist that plays to that exact audience, you know, her room for growth is limitless.
The one argument I would have to kind of almost back up what Jeff's saying about SZA and Rihanna. Aaliyah was kind of the first solo female because during that time, all the girls were in groups.
Yeah, in the 90s and the early 2000s,
Beyonce was in the group.
Right, she started in the group.
Most other females that were like Whitney Houston, it was not the same R&B.
Missy Elliott,
right? You know. It was Missy was straight hip hop. If you want to go far back before Aaliyah, there was true R&B, like singing, but Aaliyah was mixing R&B and hip hop together
into like the form that we now recognize R&B.
That we now recognize, like SZA and from Dreamville, Ari Lennox. Ari Lennox still sings a lot more than hip hop, but yeah. Aaliyah she was
pull it all together.
She was just tapping into her movie career.
She was very
Romeo
young.
almost died. She killed Beyonce. Can't act. I'm sorry.
She can't. Yeah, you're right. No, you got me there.
Romeo Must Die. Aaliyah did a great job. Yeah. She had the vampire movie that she was in before she died. Literally, she had just shot her scenes a little bit before she did the video for Rock the Boat that she was shooting for. But her death could have been prevented. They told her the plane was overweight, but she wanted to come back for the reward show.
And they said the pilot wasn't a real pilot and was
not
so.
Yeah, and when you go into it, they said it had
because the pilot had traces of cocaine and alcohol in his system.
Yep, it's unfortunate.
Sad.
It's something that could be right, and something that could be avoided. That's the thing that sucks the most.
Yeah,
and it's like not even bad weather was the cause of the crash. It was a fucked up pilot.
Yep,
like her death. The plane that's tragic. That's just the tragic.
True tragedy.
It's the one that's different from everybody else.
Yeah.
It wasn't a violence thing. It wasn't drugs. Well, kind of. Not
not
even drugs. It was just.
It's a poor decisions,
crash, you know. Right, it's a plane crash.
And also, like, statistically, one of the hardest ways to die in the country. Like, so few people die in plane crashes.
Yeah. But they had said you will take the equipment before and then you can leave on another plane. Like, when you hear the whole story,
right. I believe when I was doing research, somebody even went as far as to say like it was planned, like it was a setup.
That's what it
so was. Like that's how crazy
everyone believes that about
a Selena situation because like I know her death and Selena's get compared so much.
Yeah.
But didn't she get shot?
Yeah, Selena got shot and set up by like her manager.
It's just, like it was a plan, it was a setup.
Yeah,
type.
I think like people compare them because like Selena existed in a very similar cultural space to Aaliyah, right? Like she was like really bringing Latin pop to the masses, you know, kind of the same way that Aaliyah was really bringing this R&B, urban pop, you know, hip hop fusion.
But also, you know, that brings the question, you know, where we are in today's day and age, like what mental health issues would she have gone through with the abuse that she went through with R. Kelly?
I was just
that's a fair point. Yeah,
I was just thinking about
because like I say the same thing about Big Pun. Like, where would he be in today's day and age with his health issue, with his overweight issues?
Yeah. I was doing research. I didn't even know all the details, but apparently
R. Kelly,
he was like 27.
Oh yeah, dude. Her mom kind of like
she was a minor.
Her mom kind of gave you okay for them to, you know.
Yeah, it was wild.
I don't want to go into a rant with R. Kelly.
All the signs were there. Why
all the signs was there. Most of the people that I know my age knew R. Kelly was doing it because I knew people that went to high school that he used to just park in front of and wait for people to get out of school.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And like when the news came out, everybody was like, we already knew.
The Boondocks episode
That's
is all you
finding
need.
out.
Yeah.
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 People started getting phones and cameras.
Yeah.
People
Anyway,
stopped getting paid. Parents stopped getting
that
paid.
too, yeah.
That's what it was.
But should we go through honorable mentions then?
Yeah. Let's go through the honorable mentions.
Yeah, I'll read them off. So, I mean, we got Takeoff, another tragic.
Super
Yep.
tragic.
Violence.
Yeah.
Coolio, Mr. Big, you said Nate Dogg. Gangsta Boo, another tragic loss.
Mm,
Pimp
yeah.
C, another major innovator in the southern Texas rap. ASAP Yams, Proof, Left Eye, DMX, Biz Markie, Tupac, Biggie, two obvious ones right there. Jam Master Jay, which I think his case actually just got closed recently, I believe,
Yeah.
where they just found the guy that murdered him.
Yeah.
PNB Rock, Mac Dre, Easy E, Old Dirty Bastard,
Yep.
Adam Yak from
Yeah.
the Beastie
You
Boys,
said it correctly.
Yeah.
and DJ Screw and Big L.
Yeah.
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 It's a lot.
There's
And
so
this is-
many.
It's a lot. And it's,
There's a lot.
it's a part of life, I think like a good reminder of going through this list is that like, a lot of these are systemic issues that like we can talk about and we can prevent in the future.
But it
some of
also
them
goes to
aren't.
show.
It's life.
It also, but it also goes to show no matter how long your career is in music, how impactful you can be.
Yeah.
Because look at some of these artists that we have less than 2-3 albums made.
Yeah.
All those songs they do R. Kelly.
Yeah. And I think the thing we can say about every single artist on this list is that they made an impact, no matter how long or how short their careers were.
Mhm.
Like the state of hip hop right now would not be the same without them.
Yeah, honestly.
I think we could say that about literally every single person on this list.
You guys know
Yeah.
what I meant by Mr. Big, right?
Yeah.
You know who that is? Ronald Isley?
Is that from the Isley Brothers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of impact. Goodness gracious, that's a lot of impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Isley Brothers, that's wild. Yeah.
Touch
Yeah.
every-
Yeah. That's like being like on Noah's Ark.
Hey, don't expose me too much.
That's why I'm not that old.
God. All right. Do we want to
Should
veer
we?
off this very heavy subject and like maybe recommend some music and get out of here and I can go think about nice things?
And have everyone go like, comment, subscribe.
That
Yes.
too.
Thank you.
Now that you're in the best mood possible to be advertised to, please
Oh, boy.
like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram.
Please.
All the same unpaid nobody's time, same unpaid nobody's place.
You know, I never gave anyone the gas gift card. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
When it was just you and Brandon, the very first couple episodes, I said, the
Oh,
next
yeah,
5
I forgot
subscribers,
about that.
I will give you a $20 gas card. Never happened.
We were too early.
Yeah, it's okay. You got, I think my favorite like content creator of all time. He's like a news creator. I watch him literally every day. He was like, yeah, my first 5 years, I was talking to myself on the internet, and it's like you don't get
Therapy.
here. It's like you don't
Yeah.
get here without that. Like so,
Yeah.
I
So who wants to kick it off?
Who's ready?
I'll
Are you
do it.
ready?
I'll go.
Yeah, I'm ready. So
Yeah, I'm ready too.
I'm also ready.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. So last week I was not on the episode for one of my most anticipated projects of the year, the Dochi project. I liked it a lot. I think you guys all kind of covered my feelings. It's very much a first album, but the potential is skyrocketing. And I think everything on it is good, but it is like, varies pretty wildly between like, oh, this is like really good to like, holy shit, this might be the next Kendrick Lamar. But I wanted to call out what I think might be my favorite of her features, and also an inclusion by one of the artists that we are talking about today. When I saw this pop up on my workout earlier, I had to recommend it. And it's Pro Freak from Smino featuring Dochi and Fat Man Scoop.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of my favorite Dochi features. It's one of my favorite songs on that excellent Smino album. What's Not to Love?
I like that. I just got that vinyl. Highly recommended. All right, Jeff, you said you were ready.
Oh yeah, so my first song is gonna be Consequence and YNW Melly Overdose.
I'm trying to think if I know that.
Yeah. YNW Melly?
I'm trying to think of the song Overdose.
Yeah, I don't know this song. I know YNW Melly.
Okay.
Yeah, this just came out recently.
But I like that.
Mm.
I'm ready.
Yeah, it popped up on one of my playlists last week when Rich Homie Quan died.
Oh shit. Okay. I'm gonna have to go check that out then.
I'm ready. So with summer ending, I've been trying to make a playlist for a chill nighttime kind of drive. And the fact that I haven't done any nighttime drives this summer is killing me. But due to the weekend's live stream, I had decided to pick Rolling Loud from the trilogy.
It's a good one.
Yep.
They're all good ones.
I love that first trilogy. And I love this second trilogy.
Nothing matches that first trilogy though.
Oh my god.
I don't know, man. After Hours is
It is good.
After Hours
But
is
it's the trilogy, I'm just saying.
We still have a cousin that we're trying
I'm gonna say it. I still judge people who call it the trilogy. Call them by the names of the mixtapes.
By the names?
Yeah.
House of Balloons. No.
Yeah.
House of Balloons. Thursday. Echoes of Silence.
Yeah.
It's a trilogy. All the things in it have names.
And we're about to hit a second trilogy, so
Yeah.
Okay, got you.
That's my feeling on that matter.
No, not your team.
Nice.
All right.
But the backtrack, Overdose, came out on August 9th. It's actually produced by Kanye West and Timberland.
Heck.
That's
Okay.
an interesting combination.
All right.
Interesting combination.
There's two other ones that I don't know of. Angel Lopez and I can't even pronounce the dude's name.
Yeah. There's always
Not
one
even
of
take a
those
chance.
guys. Yeah.
Federico, it's Federico.
You got it.
Vindver.
Oh no. We'll see.
Vindver?
Vinder?
Vind? Ver. Vindver.
There you go. All right, but
It's weird.
Jasper.
So, my first one, there's a little bit of a story. I went to a really cool show when I was in LA recently at the Bourbon Room, which is a theater right off of Hollywood Boulevard. And I saw this really interesting performance by this guy who basically worked his entire career in sound engineering in like the late 80s through the 90s for all kinds of folks and just big music insider. And his show consists of, he has Pro Tools files of like famous artists' recordings. And what he does is he does like basically like the equivalent of a sample breakdown where he goes through every track layered inside of a song, and he'll kind of go through and explain it all and show where each thing came from. So really up my alley. The one that I saw, he did a story time kind of on working as a sound tech on Peter Gabriel's tour for one of the co-touring acts. Peter Gabriel and Sinead O'Connor toured together in 1993, and it was for that. And he did a breakdown of Peter Gabriel's song Games Without Frontiers, but then ended it with a remix that he had made of Peter Gabriel's song In Your Eyes, which is one of my favorites. My parents played it all the time growing up. His remix was like 20 minutes long, and he lined it up with the end of 2001: A Space Odyssey, which was fucking wild. But the original version is what's on Spotify, so that's what I'm going with. So In Your Eyes by Peter Gabriel. He was one of the main kind of architects behind the band Genesis, if you know anything about Genesis. Yeah. He is really where Genesis gets their sound. Like Phil Collins may be the singer and the drummer, but the sound of Genesis is largely Peter Gabriel. So his solo career that kicked off afterwards, he's got some insane hits, and this is definitely one of them.
Bet. Nice. What the heck? All right, bet. Mine does not have a story behind it, unfortunately. I was watching a TikTok and it was an NFL video. That's about it.
That's the story.
Good.
That is the story.
All of life is a story.
I found the artist Real Boston Richie. The song called "Help Me." It actually has a ton of listens on it. I was not expecting it, but highly recommend "Help Me." It's very good. It's a good workout song as well. So that's it.
All right.
Who was first? Was it Brandon?
Yeah, it was. And this has a story that is closer to Purvis's than Jasper's. When I saw the announcement that Kendrick Lamar was going to headline the Super Bowl on Sunday for the 2 hours between waking up in the Bears game, I just immediately went to my Kendrick Lamar playlist and pressed shuffle. And the first song that came up has been dominating my life ever since. It's a great one, Savior, which I think really gets to the point Kendrick Lamar has been making for years. It's that like he is a man, and no matter how badly he beats up this Canadian pedophile, he is still merely a man who makes mistakes.
Okay.
And I think actually, like, you know, if you look at some other stuff that's happening, like in other spheres in the music world, people are really talking about like the fact that artists are human beings, and it's like, yeah, maybe we should have been thinking about this all along. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, what was it? Future told you to get a money counter, but he is not your savior. Like,
Okay.
Tap dancing in the background.
Right.
dude, I wish I could just have like a little Alexa that I programmed to just tap dance at like random increments. Just like every couple of days, like when I'm thinking really hard, like tap dance.
Oh man, that was perfect for Halloween.
Yeah.
Dead silence.
Yeah.
Kids want
Tap
candy. Ring the
dancing.
doorbell. Tap dancing.
Yeah.
That's the vision.
All right, I guess it's my turn. My second song, sticking to the same theme. Summer's ending, late night vibes. I haven't been listening to a lot of hard stuff lately, unless it's Kendrick. But Isaiah Falls, Diva. You would really enjoy this artist. The first time I heard anything from him was a snippet on Instagram. And it was his song Florida Baby. And when I heard that, I instantly got addicted, and I just went and tried to find whatever I could find for him. His first album, I believe, is supposed to drop sometime later this year. I'm excited. I'm excited for it. Yeah, Isaiah Falls.
Okay, but why do I feel like
Nice. Nice.
Nice.
So my second song is going to be all of our favorite artists, Kevin Gates, Around Me.
God, one of
Stamp of approval.
truly the Jesus of hip hop, I would say. Like,
I mean, he did start a car with his hands. So
I believe.
Oh my God!
I believe that story.
I've never read a Bible scripture. That sounds like one.
That is a modern day miracle. What if we like?
Well, modern day miracle is too far. That's out of pocket.
Hey, let God strike down his kids today. Like,
May God murder his children.
that may God murder his children.
God. Kevin
But
Gates.
yeah, could you imagine like if you fell asleep for like 2,000 years and you woke up and like there was like Gatesism, and it's like
What?
and he totally didn't kick that girl in the face at that concert that one. And then he started a car battery with his hands. And his braids always looked like that. Like,
And the Gates saw that it was good.
yeah.
It was good.
The Gates. The Kevin Gates.
Yeah.
Hey,
Why
I'm just saying.
Why make him pearly?
Why does it look like I'm really balling? Because I'm really balling.
Look, all I gotta
Amen.
say is the new emotes that he's coming out with, fantastic.
Yeah.
Like,
Does anybody know if the rumor is true about him and his girl being cousins? Is that true?
I wouldn't put it past him.
Where's
but
he
I
from?
don't know.
Biblical. All I'm going to
true.
say, biblical.
No idea. No idea.
Am I the only one that heard this rumor?
Yeah, I have
I
not.
haven't heard of it, but I wouldn't put it past him. I'll put it that way. Like,
Yeah, I want to put it past, but I haven't heard it.
Hold on. All right, hold on.
all right,
I
Jasper.
Oh, wait, you heard
Time
it?
out. No, something different, but about Kevin Gates. I just opened up the bio. I always read the bios for artists on Spotify because I'm a nerd.
No.
His bio begins, Kevin Gates transformed into one of the most impactful and inimitable rappers in the game by simply being Kevin Gates. That's the opening line.
They're aware. Like, everyone's aware of what's going on.
Yeah,
that's so fucking funny, dude. I am dead.
Like, Kanye could never.
Okay.
That's wild. He's from Louisiana, so... I don't know. The incest seems to not be so... I don't know. It's not Alabama, but... Oh, well.
I don't know. Louisiana, depending on what part of Louisiana. If he's, like, deep south Louisiana...
Why didn't he headline
the
Super Bowl?
That's what I'm saying.
As I go down his bio, it ends with the line, he's only gotten better at being Kevin Gates. This is like some motivational it's like you went online and looked for like a self-help video and it happened to be narrated by Kevin Gates.
So
or it's made by ChatGPT.
Grandparent.
There you go.
They probably weren't aware. That's all I can.
There's an interview where he said he found out and he still continues.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I just did a little research. Supposedly they have a great grandparent.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, Kevin Gates.
Okay.
Jasper.
Anyway, who's next?
We're so close.
Isaac, if you're looking for summer driving jams,
give it to
I am here for you.
Pause.
Hey, yo. I'm going with the 9-minute almost instrumental off of Indicud afterwards.
Oh, I love this. Yeah.
Certified classic. Bring your friends. Top tier. I just put this on, zone out, just go for a drive, head bobbing the whole time.
No, this is great.
Yeah,
I completely
love
agree.
this track.
Because when you guys were doing 2013 versus 2016, it was Indica versus
Passion, Pain, and Demon Slaying.
Yeah.
For
I'm
Cuddy.
sorry, Indica takes that.
Yeah,
it does.
We talked about it. Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah. I did like Passion, Pain, Demon Slayer. Yeah, Indica takes that.
You don't get the Cuddy Kanye reunion without Passion, Pain, Demon Slaying, which was the point that I brought up.
You did bring that up.
You don't get kids
which
to go.
we were all at.
Yeah.
Which we were all at. But maybe we should judge the album on its own merits.
Sure, but we were talking influence for the sake of
we were
for the episode.
Yeah. Okay, who's next?
Right.
Is it Purvis? Are you gonna end
Yeah, I'm
this?
closing this out. Yeah.
All right, Gun and Bible Man, let's go.
Short and simple. Found an artist named Martin Kraft. Sounds like a black guy. Apparently, it's a white guy.
He's good.
He's good. He's very good. Like
he's good.
Yeah,
I'm about to sound like Snoop. He don't.
I was very impressed. I think he came up on Shuffle while just listening to some Griselda song.
I thought I told you about him.
Maybe it was already on the vault, so
he's good.
I found him at some point in
He looks like if Bo Burnham decided to just rap.
Yep.
Yeah.
When you look at him, it's not what you think you're about to hear.
That was a black guy.
Nope.
But yeah, World Champs, good song, highly recommend. Chorus is fantastic.
Interesting.
Dive into him. Yeah. Dive into him.
Yeah.
Looks like the dude that played Napoleon Dynamite.
That's hilarious. John Heater.
That's wild.
There we go. I couldn't think of his name.
Yeah.
He has a twin brother. You know what I found out?
He looks like
The guy that played Pedro also has a twin brother.
that's
This looks
funny.
like the dude off of the New York Street videos.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Not side talk.
Hold on, I gotta find the video. I'll put it in the Discord. But
Is it a side talk video? Like one of those?
It is a side talk video. It's
Is it
like
Cougine?
settle
Is it
down.
Cougine?
Oh,
Like
Cougine.
Cougine.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Cougine. Yeah, I like that.
Cougine.
Also,
Yeah, of course I
He
know
also-
Cougine. Are you kidding me? Like,
yeah.
I'm Italian.
He also looks like
he's been in the newsletter for 2 years. Like,
He makes better chicken cutlets than your mother.
my mother's from an island. Like,
no,
makes better
chickens can't fly
cubanos
to
than
that
your
island, bro.
like, no, she does not. Like, well, I'm glad we're laughing now after talking about
Yeah,
this episode.
ending on a good note.
On the long episode, we're at 2 hours.
Yeah.
Well, there's 5 of us. It was,
Well,
kinda-
it was fine.
I'll take the blame.
I loved
I'll
it.
take the
No,
blame.
it was good. It's what the channel needed. It's what we needed, and personally, it was what I needed. I'm ending the
And what you
podcast.
need to do is smash like and subscribe.
Yes,
On a
we
good
also
note,
need to
man.
start doing that in the beginning. But yes, you're right. Smash like and subscribe right now. Do it.
You're
Or I'll be
saying it
sad.
two